Leslie and I have known each other since early childhood. We grew up on the same country road in Mississippi.
I think why we're good for the community of Mississippi is because we're a product of this community. We are just two country guys, and we were embedded with what I call the diamonds of good character.
Come, join the family, and help us build the community.
Charles Irvin.
Cut the light off there. What's going on, Leslie?
What's going on, man? You got some glare coming. Barely see your face here.
Is that better?
A little better, a little better. I think that window is where it's coming from. Yeah. So let me try to see if we can tweak that a little bit.
The sun is going down, so
yeah. Unless you just turn and have it coming in from the sideways, maybe.
Let me see what I can do.
Let's see what you can do there.
Record collection.
Yeah. That's a little better there. It's gonna be a little better. Yeah.
How about that?
That's better. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm excellent, Leslie. It's Friday.
Well,
yeah, that's much better.
It is Friday, and it's a special Friday in that. So let me take a few minutes to give a shout out to those wonderful, distinguished brothers that hail from Ithaca, New York, back on this day, 1906. The brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. Happy Founders Day, brothers. Hope you're all well and safe and are taking care of yourselves and your families and taking precautions. I'll see you next year live. See you this year virtually.
Happy Founders Day, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
So crypto.
Hate that you all can't celebrate like you want to, but it's just postponed. It's not over.
That's right. It's just postponed. It's delayed. It's not canceled.
That's right.
That's right. So let's get everybody on in. Let me chat with the family. Tell them to come on in and join us. We I was looking at just some of the numbers coming out of Georgia, and I know today's show we're going to talk about something that they don't hear us talk about often, but we're going to talk about cryptocurrency, a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about the fact that I still have Georgia on my mind. You have Georgia on your mind, so we're going to talk about votes in Georgia and cryptocurrency today. And let's just kick it off for Georgia as we think about it. I saw something last night that already over $318 million has been dropped into Florida. I mean, not Florida, Georgia, just for the Senate race.
So power concedes nothing, Leslie. They don't want to lose those seats because they don't want to help Joe Biden, which means they really don't want to help the small man.
Well, let's talk about that. You know, when we hear numbers such as, first of all, let me just pretend I know nothing about politics, right? And I'm just gonna play the common man role, just the common blue collar in the grind, grinding it out every day, and that I have no knowledge of politics at all. Here's my question. How do you raise $318 million?
Corporate money. You have a lot of small donors who are contributing. And you have to remember too, if you look at it like this, there is some corporate money coming in because Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are corporate shields. Let's call it what it is. They both they're not the best or the brightest, but they take care of important people's business, meaning corporate interests. So they get money at the max donation amount put into their campaign. And there's a uniqueness about this race in that you have a double header for the United States Senate that you normally wouldn't have two in one state at the same time for control of the one of the most powerful bodies in the United States government.
True, true.
This is the difference between being able to get through climate change legislation, immigration reform, police reform, racial justice issues. So a lot of people don't want to see those progressive items happen. So you get a lot of money to put up a lot of resistance.
Fair enough.
But I'm happy to tell you that from our little project, we've had at least one group of individuals send out 365 postcards into Georgia. We've had people doing text banking, and we had a few people do some phone banking.
Oh, wow.
And some donations. So sometimes it's about the little engine that could. It can happen because it's purely about ground game. And I see that President Obama is going to be doing something with Stacey Abrams this weekend to try and pump up the volume on making sure how important this is. They're doing smear campaigns in the ads. They're trying to make Reverend Warnock sound like he's some type of fringe, left-wing demagogue.
Yeah, they are. Speaking of that, I did see some things that made me smile. I saw that Reverend Warnock had partnered and aligned with the Asian community and their caucus and really get out the vote drive. I've seen the same thing with the Hispanic community as well as the African American community, and even crossing the aisle. So here's the thing. The question, as a scholar, you study this stuff, you've been a politician once upon a time in your lifetime. Just give it to me straight, no chaser. How competitive do you see this race in a few weeks? And do the Democrats have a good chance of winning, or will we see what we saw in South Carolina with Jamie Harrison? Yeah.
I think we have an excellent chance of winning, but I would caution everyone to stop watching the news and actually do something to help move the needle, because this is about ground game. This is about awareness that you need to go and vote again. And the deadline, I believe, is in 3 days for registration.
December 7th, I believe, is the deadline.
Yeah, so if you know anybody who hadn't registered, if they've been living under a rock or a tent, or they've been dodging COVID, now's the time for them to get in action and get registered and get ready to go. But yeah, I feel like with the dynamics on the ground, with the demographic changes to the Atlanta metro area, the presidential was a big election for the AAPI community, Asian community. They voted at a rate of first-time voters of 55%. Okay. That's a big number.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's a huge number. So what I'm hearing you say, and then I'll let you finish your thought. What I'm hearing you say is that if we can't stop pushing the needle, we have to get involved, and every little part anybody plays can help. And that you see this as being a very competitive race with a good opportunity to win these 2 seats.
Yes. I feel confident. I feel confident. I found out something that I didn't know. I didn't know that for those of you who are big fans of Stacey Abrams, she's also written 8 romance novels. So that's something for you to look into.
What?
Yeah, and her romance novel book club is actually doing some get out to vote. So
Did not know that.
that's a unique angle. The lady never ceases to amaze, man. Stacey Abrams is a mega star.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were expecting to hear some big announcement of Stacey Abrams joining the Biden team in the White House. And so some people were disappointed that they hadn't heard her name being mentioned in that thing. And I just kind of referenced, I said, how do you know she wants to go to the Washington? She might have her eyes set on something else. So, but I just
Well,
found it interesting.
I wouldn't fret about that. Stacey Abrams has earned the right to be on whatever team she wants to be on. I think right now she's on Team Warnock and Team Ossoff, trying to ensure that we have a progressive agenda.
Yeah.
And then I think she's turning her attention immediately to 2022 and the governor's race in Georgia.
Which is, let's just face it, this whole situation has probably just helped that in her favor even more.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah, no doubt about
just
it. No doubt about it. I mean, long and short of it is you wouldn't have outgoing President Trump going to Georgia this weekend. You wouldn't have former President Barack Obama. Um, you know, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you too. Citizens United plays a big role in why there's so much money in here, but you got to play the game with the rules that you have in front of you. We can't fret about Citizens United. You got to raise money like it's no tomorrow, because those are the rules right now. I
that's
mean,
true.
rules of the road say you can have PAC money, you can have individual donations, you can have corporate donations, just to a certain threshold. So that's the name of the game. You got to have money to do ground game advertising, uh, voter education, and I think Black Votes Matter has been doing some genius stuff, man. They've been doing some next level stuff. People are hurting because of COVID, so they've been doing food banks where they will help you get food and help you fill out your absentee application or help you register to vote on the spot. Get it all done in one place, one stop shopping.
Well, I thought it was a perfect marriage, right? Show your genuine, help somebody that's in need right now, right? And then let's help address the short term need, and let's also address the long term need.
What you need, Jackson? He's not gonna take your juice, son. Yeah, yes, it's okay.
Tell Jackson I think he just wanted his airtime.
Yeah, he wants some airtime without actually getting on the air.
Well, that's good to know. So,
Too, one other thing I want to point out before we move away from Georgia Leslie,
okay.
I'm gonna quote Chuck D and Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype. People are hearing on television that the Republicans are not gonna vote. That's made for TV. That's the kind of like WWE wrestling. That
Oh,
ain't real. They're going
definitely
to vote.
they're definitely gonna vote. I can assure you of that.
Yes, they're going to vote. So, I mean, get that out of your brain. We need everybody to show up and show out.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think, before we leave Georgia, last thing I wanted to tackle I mean, family, give us your comments. I mean, some of you are in Georgia area, got family in Georgia, but what are you hearing on the ground? Mom, you're in the room. What are you hearing? How's the atmosphere? How's the push? How's the energy around Georgia right now, particularly with Ossoff and Warnock and their campaign? So love to hear that. I did not. There's a debate this Sunday, I want to say.
Between who?
Warnock and
Loeffler?
yes.
Because Ossoff is going to be debating the empty chair. Purdue not going to show up.
Yeah, no. Warnock and Lofter will be debating Sunday, I believe it is, at 6 o'clock Eastern. So
yeah,
so
and I
maybe
imagine she's not going to show up after this debate either. It's going to be one and done, buddy.
Yeah, I think she has to show up to even have a chance. but it's going to be pretty bad. But I hope she shows up. It's going to be tough for her to answer some of the questions she's going to have to answer. And I think here's the other thing. You just disenfranchise a lot of voters in Georgia by accusing them of taking the election. Georgia has not recounted once, not twice, but are doing it a third time.
People don't like stuff being taken away from them. I mean, the long and short of it is they're basically saying that you can't trust black people's vote because they cheat.
That's my point. That's where I was going with that. I'm glad you took it there. That's exactly where I was going, because when you look at the epicenters of where they specifically targeted and said it without saying it, it's in heavy populated African American areas of parts of the state. So whether it's Detroit, whether it's Milwaukee, whether it's Atlanta and surrounding areas, that's what they essentially said in their filings and complaints. It's never you didn't hear them talking about Northwest Georgia. You didn't hear them talking about the areas where they got 60-70% of the vote. So my thing is this: how can the machine? Well, forget that. Just we ain't even got to go there.
Yeah,
the reality is the reality.
I mean, it's been counted, it's been recounted, been counted again. You keep counting all you want to. It's not going to change.
In fact, and here's the laws of statistics: the more you count it, the smaller that margin of error is.
Right.
It doesn't get bigger.
No.
It only gets smaller. So that's my take on Georgia. So I wanted to hit that. So continue to work. December 7th is the deadline. That's Monday to get registered. If you know somebody that's eligible, get them registered in Georgia by Monday, please. I know they're having some big pushes over the weekend to get people registered to vote. Get it done. Get it done.
Oh, yeah, get it done. Because it is winnable. This is not a situation where you can't win. If you do what you're supposed to do, you win. The numbers are in your favor. If those recounts show you anything, it shows you that you have an opportunity. Yeah, the request for ballots, I think, is up to 700,000, maybe getting closer to 1 million by the end of the weekend. So, you know, got to keep that pressure on.
Yeah, definitely do.
Cheetah Pimp said a long time ago.
Changing gears a little.
Remember Cheetah Pimp?
You went back.
Cheetah Pimp said pressure was a pipe, so you got to keep that pressure on.
That's what he said. Leave that pressure on.
Yeah.
Well, change the subject just a little bit. And this is something, and mentioning it. In fact, as soon as we get off, we need to finish what we started earlier. But
you need to finish what you started. Don't try to put me on it.
We need to finish what I started. Yes.
Yeah.
But cryptocurrency, we've been talking about this, and I can remember, I didn't know it was going to be called cryptocurrency at the time, but I can remember, when we used to have those dreams of doing something together and starting a business together under that oak tree in the middle of our two houses where we came up on Rankin Road. I also remember us I always had these crazy dreams around technology and what the world could be like. And I remember when ATMs and that technology first came on the scene, and we were, we didn't know nothing about investing in too young, but I look at it now and I say, in everybody's lifetime, there are multiple chances for you to hit it, right? Significant things. So whether it was when Google first started out, because I keep reminding people, Google was not the browser of choice. Nobody knew about Google. They were a small guy when they started shop. The number one browser when we first started out was not Internet Explorer. It was not Google. It was Netscape.
Yeah.
So when you look at whether it was the Bell South split, that big split that people could have got rich on if they just bought 100 shares, or if it was Google, if it was Microsoft in the 80s, if it was IBM before that, if it was the .com area, if I would have just made one shift and gone eBay instead of Ubid, Google instead of Excite, those things happen. So now we have crypto. And I remember talking to you, I said, there will be a day, Charles, we'll go in the store, we won't have paper money. money will change. I don't know how it's gonna look. I don't know, but we won't be carrying anything. Like
Yeah.
literally, because I was always on that Jetsons thing, which you thought I was crazy. Because I said we're gonna really have a car like Jetsons. We just gonna zoom around the air. And I had the opportunity to see us a few years ago to see the prototype and to actually get in it.
Yeah.
We do have a Jetsons vehicle. It's not approved yet in the U.S., but it's that close, that close. And Uber, you'll see Uber launching them first when they start with you're gonna be having Uber flights. You're gonna literally be able to get across all the busy intersections of major cities with Uber flight or whatever they decide to call it coming in the very near future.
Yeah.
But so now we deal with money. And this is a new arena, but a lot of people just don't really understand anything about crypto. So when you say crypto, I never forget it. The first time I said it to somebody that was from, I'll just say the baby boomers generation, and they weren't familiar with it, they said, "Are you cursing me?"
Yeah.
So talk to us about cryptocurrency.
Well, like you did a good job of laying out the spooky stuff of the internet era. I'm gonna add one thing to that. 94, 95, AOL.com. How many of you all remember that?
Ooh. You've got mail.
Yeah, exactly. You used to get your link in on the CD and you put
Yep.
it in, load up.
Yep. Hey,
Yeah.
look, here's the reinterpretation. Because when it was no just get online. You had to dial in and go and work.
Oh yeah, it was by phone line still. So
Yep.
you think about that advance from phone line to fiber optics.
Yeah. So
Right?
let me give you the equation of that for you, take guys. 28.8 kbps, kilobits per second. Facts. That's the phone line transmission back days. And now you go to a world where we got, you know, 1,000 megabits per second, a gigabits per second now. So we talking about horse and buggy and what's the fastest jet? Whatever it is. That's what we're talking about. That's how different in terms
Yeah.
of speed and technology we're talking.
I mean, and that gives us the where we were. I think crypto gives us where we're going. But I want to go back one more time, even further,
Okay.
because I think the larger overarching purpose for wanting to talk about crypto today
Mm-hmm.
ties in a lot to that election. It ties in a lot to our discussions about Reconstruction and Black and Brown power in America. Where do we fit in?
Okay.
Oftentimes, our communities are great at being consumers, but we don't do as well because we haven't been exposed to uh, building wealth and breaking generational curses of not having uh, funds to play on the big field, so to speak. And I hear a lot of talk, justifiably so, about reparations and what have you. But I want to take a slightly different approach. And Arthur is exactly correct.
Yep.
The
He's on it.
you know
Tupa's on it.
one of my biggest philosophy life statements is we have just entered the fourth revolution, and it is and more so than revolution, it is an evolution, and it's a world evolution to a society where there is no fiat money. Dollar bills won't exist. It'll be gassed and carried by technology.
Oh man, that means I'm not gonna hear dollar bill no more. It's gonna be
No, bro. If you so fortunate to ever make it to another gentleman's club, you're gonna have to pull out your phone and shake your phone around. But uh, my my biggest hope is that we as a culture will actually take the time to study crypto and embrace it because it is an opportunity, but the window is much smaller. For anyone that went to Columbia High School and took Baxter White for any type of math class, he would always tell you after 9 weeks, it's
Not
not
too
too
late.
late. I've been in the crypto space for a little while, and I can tell you it is getting late in the game for cheap investment into just game changing technologies, stuff that's going to be with us long after we're gone, 40, 50, 100 years from now. This is the reshaping of the world. And so that's the overarching philosophy. I would like to see Black and brown communities embrace it because it is an opportunity to accumulate generational wealth um, at prices that you can afford in the hood, in the suburbs, in the exurbs, in the country. It's just a matter of educating yourself on it. So, with that in mind, um, I'm not going to talk about specific coins because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to give you financial advice. But what I will talk to you about is what's called use cases. And that sounds real fancy. But I want you at home while you're looking at this, and when you get off and you come back and look at it again, I want you to answer this question for yourself. What is something in my house that I can look to my left or look to my right that could be improved by technology? If you're watching this on a cell phone, then the chances are there is something in production right now in the crypto or digital asset class space that will vastly change the manner in which cell phones are used. That's one. Let's take another. Just about everybody, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this based off of things that we know today and things that will be different tomorrow. Um, Dropbox, personal storage for your files and information. Well, that is being decentralized because the whole point of crypto and blockchain is decentralization, using technology to make it harder for spam attacks, for ransomware, for breakdowns in the system. And where cryptocurrency is excelling at is in being a store of value. And I know when we say crypto, people wonder, where does that term come from? Well, part of the language was from the cryptography language used way back in World War II is mathematical language, including symbols, numbers, letters uh, used to send coded messages. And so then you fast forward to the use of that in computer coding, then you can start building what's called blockchain. And blockchain is the use case upon which that currency sits, and it will become the trade uh, across the next couple generations. And so everybody's familiar with Bitcoin. And so that's usually a primer as far as getting people interested because that's the one that you've all heard about more than likely. At this point, everybody's heard of Bitcoin. Um, 21 million Bitcoins that will be produced and they're being burned every 4 years. So uh, the price is going to soar. In 2010, $1 to $3. In 2020, as of today, it's 19,000 headed towards parts unknown. 2021 price predictions are anywhere between $50 and $318,000 per coin. So I don't know if that will grab your interest from a perspective of, am I too late? Should I be trying to think about getting in? Bitcoin is the first to the party. And the philosophy around it was to make more fair governments, to not to have a coin or monetary value that's not for funding war, but for building better societies. Once you get into the space, you will quickly discover that Bitcoin is kind of like the granddaddy of them all, and it holds value. And so it's a good store of value. But from a utility standpoint, that's not Bitcoin's thing.
Hmm.
So you want to look at Bitcoin if you're interested in getting into Bitcoin. Then just look around you. You'll see at some of the gas stations they have Bitcoin ATMs where you can transfer and trade Bitcoin. You have PayPal entering the cryptocurrency space. That's 28 million accounts that will be eligible to move it around. Everybody uses Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin on Cash App today. Uh, you have banks and everything from the bank to the post office to the healthcare industry to virtual reality and artificial intelligence will be improved by the technology that's behind the coins. But I want us as a community to focus a little bit on the coins and the technology, because the purchase of coins, while it can be daunting, it could be an opportunity for you to build generational wealth. Liz, if you'll put up, I sent you a copy of a slide of the things that have happened in the last 48 hours and why I say it's getting close to the time where it's going to be too late. And I want to put that up so we can talk about that real fast.
All right.
And these are just a few of the things that are happening. It's stuff happening every day, every hour. In the last 48 hours in the digital currency space, the S&P 500 Dow Jones is going to launch a crypto index. For those people who are in the stock market, you know how big of a deal that is. That means Wall Street money, Silicon Valley money, worldwide big money is getting ready to come into crypto.
Otherwise called institutional money.
Institutional money. Now we have clarity on some regulations. The banks are going to be able to hold crypto starting in 2021. So they'll have crypto on their balance sheets. Spotify, the music service, why are they up there? They're getting ready to start accepting crypto. Visa, they're partnering, getting ready for digital payment rails, meaning that they're going to be in some fashion able to transfer money in the form of digital money. And then you see public money on public companies. And, you know, it's coming in. That's $16 billion, buddy, which is the equivalent of 842,000 Bitcoins. I don't know how many people are familiar with, I don't know how many people are familiar with Stripe, but Stripe made a $50 million purchase for Bitcoin for their balance sheet. And then BlackRock, one of the biggest venture capital firms, their CEO did a speech. Well, it wasn't even a speech. It was a conversation between he and the head of the International Monetary Fund. And you can tell by the uncomfortableness of the IMF guy, his body language gave away everything that you ever wanted to know about it. Because he kind of was like, oh, he's one of those people that's been saying it's a fad, but he knows that it's here for real. And the CEO of BlackRock said that they had, you know, they went back and checked when he mentioned Bitcoin. He had his people check the stats on what people were searching BlackRock for. And out of all the things that they were searching for any connection between BlackRock and Bitcoin.
I think too is well on this because he's well versed. He's right there with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Grayscale is an interesting concept. You know, a lot of for a while now, people with money have been accumulating. They have been accumulating cryptocurrency, but they've been doing it through Grayscale to mask that. And I suspect the CEO, the founder of Grayscale, is probably going to be one of the first trillionaires because he's charging 2% interest on each one of those. and it's going swimmingly well. But there is still room at the end for us to get in on it. But you need to do your own research. You need to learn the language, learn how to actually acquire coins and store them properly, because this is not something you're gonna run down to the bank with. So it's a lot of education that you need to do. But I would say spend a couple weekends. Do you remember when we had the conversation at the beginning of the quarantine to do something to improve a skill set or learn something new?
I do.
This would be one of those things that I would recommend to each one of our followers that you learn how to do, because it's going to become a part of your life. And by the time you wait and let all this institutional money flood in and drive the price up, well, it's going to be too late.
So Charles, let me take you there. You said something that I wanted to go back to. So you said it's not something, you said it's money. We agree it's digital money, but it's not something you can just run down to the bank with. So go a little bit deeper on that. So because a lot of people think, well, if it's money, I mean, we can't spend it. What is it? What's the point of getting it? So
you'll be able to spend it, but you have to expand into the technology universe. You're already set up right now. Each one of you are set up for the acclimation to digital currency. Raise your hand if you use Cash App. Raise your hand if you use PayPal. If you can do that and it's attached to your account, do you actually pass $1 through the Cash App? No, because you can't reach through your phone.
Right.
So you're set up for it. So, and by way of background, why would there be a need to replace traditional money as we know it? Because I know a lot of people are struggling with that concept of, ain't no way the dollar is going to be. Well, here's the problem with fiat or paper money. They have printing machines at the U.S. Treasury, and they keep printing it. And each batch that they keep printing, it drives the value of the dollar down through the ground. And so the smart people who are looking at that know it can't sustain itself. Yes, the government can print money. Perfect example is pandemic stimulus checks. They didn't go to their checking account and pull out $2 trillion. They went to the Treasury and had them print some checks. And then they just added the money to the deficit. Well, that does great harm to the value of a fiat paper dollar.
Right.
Which is why people in commodities such as gold, when they see the value of the dollar decreasing, they take their investments and they place part of them in gold so that they can maintain value. So if you think about it from that standpoint, Bitcoin is like the new digital form of gold, because nobody can walk around with a gold bar in their pocket. It's too heavy. And then if you did, what would you do?
Who's gonna take it?
Oh, I mean, there'll be some people running behind you trying to take it. But it will be clunky. This is a way to improve upon that concept. And so here's what I mean by saying it could be too late really soon. The full value market cap, I know we're talking in some terms that some people may not be familiar with, but how much gold is out there? What is gold's market cap? Not the value of an individual bar, but how much money is in gold?
Right.
$9 trillion. That's a lot of skrill.
No doubt.
So then you say, well, if Bitcoin is equivalent to that, how much is in Bitcoin? $236 billion. What that tells me is there's a long runway that's going to ramp up really fast, and then those Jetson planes are going to be in the air full of Bitcoin, and everybody else is going to be on the ground trying to spend worthless money.
Yep.
And for those people who don't think it can happen, I distinctly remember Antonio bringing me back some money from Iraq.
I do too.
He brought a lot of it. And he wasn't the only one. I had people giving me, money, but the money is not worth anything. It's like a souvenir. That's
it.
what's going to happen to the U.S. dollar.
And I think it's probably hard for people to understand why, but the reality is when you put more of something into the marketplace, the value of it goes down.
Yes.
It's too much. It's the supply and demand concept, always with the economy. It's
Mm-hmm.
always about supply and demand. So if you think about it, there's a lot more things you can buy at the dollar store. So therefore, there's nothing you can buy at the dollar store that somebody else can't get, right? I mean,
Right.
they're just about the majority of the world can go get that thing. However, the reason why a Bentley or a Bugatti or all those things are exclusive that will sell for a premium value, they only make a limited quantity of them.
Right.
Period. Don't matter how much money you got. They only make it so when they're done, they're done. To control the value of the item. Same thing with a painting. The Michelangelo painting that he painted of the 60s, the reason why it's so valuable, you can't get Michelangelo to paint it again.
No.
He gone.
And he painted part of it on the Sistine Chapel, so you got to actually go there. It's a one of one.
Right. So that's what he means when he says if you remove it from the marketplace, then you become less valuable. Same thing, the same theory is supposed to go with all things in life. That's, they've tried to use that theory in education, but the same theory is that for each level you go up, there's a smaller pool of people that you're competing with.
Yeah.
That's the theory.
And so before we get too far off in the weeds, I want people to understand a couple of things. Yes, crypto is out there. You can purchase it. You just don't hold it like you would hold, that's a great point. Two got it down. He already know what the deal is.
You already know what the deal is.
He already know.
He probably sitting on a bunch.
Yeah. I would expect no less. Look, you don't have to run out and plunk down $19,000 for a Bitcoin because you're not going to get a shiny coin anyway. But if you have money to purchase Bitcoin with, now I'm gonna disagree with you on that, Arthur. I'm gonna disagree with you on that. But let me finish this thought, Liz, and then put some comments up because you're messing with my thought process.
All right.
This is the deal. If you have $50, get your $50 worth of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to be valued at 318 next year and headed towards $1 million per coin, wouldn't you want to have $50 worth of that?
I know I would. I can do the math and calculate that real quick.
Yeah.
In fact, you keep talking. I'll calculate and get a number. For those of you that like finding numbers, y'all, you keep talking.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a chance to improve your. A lot of us gonna be headed toward retirement. You're gonna need a lot of money to live off of. You're gonna have medical expenses. You're gonna have kid expenses, and if you like me, I'm an old fart with a 4-year-old. I'm gonna be in the game for a long time. So, kids cost money, education costs money, food costs money, and not that I'm knocking anybody's lifestyle, but we find money for shoes, cars, clothes, vacations, everything under the sun. We are consumers. So what I'm saying is take that same consumer mentality and learn about cryptocurrency and buy some. Because we are great at buying things, but this would be one of those things that you want to buy a lot of if you can. And it's relatively cheap right now. Some great projects are out there and they are under a penny. But they won't always be under a penny.
No, they won't. They just won't. They just won't. And that, if you, just to put that in perspective, if you made that $50 investment and let's say that coin did get up to be valued $1 million, that $50 would turn into $1 million.
There you go.
You would essentially accumulate 20,000 of that $50. So, look, it's real. That premise has never changed. It was stock back in our parents' days. It hadn't changed. So, I think what you're trying to say is the same thing you told me. I don't want to hear you mad at us. I don't want to hear you mad at it and saying you missed the opportunity later because you didn't know. You know.
Yeah. I mean, my whole point is I don't want to have the information and just sit somewhere with it in my head just because I like gathering information. I would rather share it, pique somebody's curiosity, and have you get out there and figure out a way to get you some. Accumulate it. Because it's no different than Amazon. Think about this. Amazon started as a bookstore, and you could probably get Amazon stock for like $2.
Yeah.
Today, $2 won't get you through the door on Amazon. You probably could buy some rubber bands on Amazon for $2.
Maybe.
And you certainly can't buy Amazon stock for $2.
You know what I tell people is just remind yourself of all those years in the 90s when people were laughing at Amazon. And I remember every time you would watch one of the stock shows, the laughing joke was, is Amazon going to show a profit at this earnings report?
Right. All that time, they would laugh. But look who's laughing now. Jeff Bezos is worth a cool several billion.
Yes.
And might be the first trillionaire.
Right. So I mean, I remember everybody laughing at Amazon. When they gonna make money? Because you got to remember, the future is never gonna seem apparent in the present. Oh, I just said something.
They're already conditioning. And Arthur says something very key to this. The young generation, they all over it.
Yep.
Because they understand it fits their eye. They use their phone for social media, social contact, for music, school, entertainment, everything. So it's a natural fit for them. They're not afraid of it. But some of us have gotten into the fact that we like to put that money in our mattress and we like to sit on it. We like to sleep on it. But that's all it's going to end up being is an attraction for dust mites. It's not going to be worth anything. So while it is still worth something, start accumulating the next thing that will fuel the economies of the future. And the future is not that far away. I gave you a picture of a bar, kind of a curve. I want you to put that curve up because I want to kind of show people where we are on the curve and why I say it's almost too late.
Okay, let me see if I got that. I didn't get that one.
It's in there.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. The one
right there.
Okay.
Yeah, blow that up a little bit. So all right, so if you look at this curve, this is the cycle of most big evolutions. If you look at the left-hand side where it says innovators, 2.5%, we are just creeping out of that, and we're into the early adoption phase. However, we are probably closer to the early majority, which will be 34% in the next 5 to 7 years. And then the late majority will be the next 7 to 10 years. And then after that, it's going to be everybody that's trying to fumble their way in with a couple dollars to get a little bit of nothing.
But here's the reality. If you look at And that's the same thing. If you look at, I bet you, if you compare this chart to the wealth distribution in America, you'd be shocked at the similarities. But look at the early adopter phase. Your price is low, your trajectory is up. Even early majority, if you get in on the early part of the phase, you're still making money. When you get into the late majority, you're buying at the height.
No doubt about it.
You know, you had, you know,
yeah. And so
network marketing terms, you at the end of the wagon, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. So while we are headed into the uptick of this phenomenon, this is the time to educate yourself and try to go ahead and get in. Because that is a high up there.
Very much so.
You think about the people that got Disney stock, they got Amazon stock, they got Google stock, they got Facebook stock in that 2.5 to 13.5, even in the 34% phase.
None of them have to work.
No, they don't work anymore.
No.
So for all those people that say they want to be house husbands or housewives, this is your ticket to
that. So you get in early. So as Baxter White would say, it's not too late.
No, it's not too late.
It's not too late.
And then the other thing that I would say is we get comfortable with America and our dominance. So we're not seeing it as much. And in fact, I would hazard to say out loud, most of the people with money don't want you to see it. So they're not going to be talking about it on the local news. They're not going to be talking about it on the cable news. You have to look for a couple of business shows that's going out to those people that are specialized in investing in the markets to find this information. They're not going to be writing about it in the local newspaper. They're probably not going to be writing about it too much in the business journals because they don't want to share this information. Why is that, Liz? They don't really want any company in the millionaire club. Right. They don't want any company in the millionaire club. Right. So they're not going to talk about it out loud. But what I'm telling you is the information is all around you, and they are preparing you to use it anyway. But they're preparing for you to use it in the same cycle that you always do. Consumerism. They don't want you to invest in it. They want you to get the end product. Great stuff that's going to come out of it. A better internet, a faster internet, a faster phone, a faster television, better data storage, better and more portable healthcare records, better educational technology. They want you to buy those things from them. They don't want you to invest in it while it's being built. So that's my point. We like to buy stuff. This would be a good time to look into buying some of this.
I'm just gonna take you back, and this is gonna be my only thought of the day, and I'm gonna type it here because I can't. The Lord had to get that one to me because it's just powerful. But this is what I want all of us to hold on to, and that's this. The future is never apparent in the present. You notice how when we talk about Google and Amazon back in the day, none of those things were apparent in that time. That's why people were laughing at them. That's why people thought they were crazy. People thought Netflix was crazy when Blockbuster was the king of the hill and refused to buy Netflix, and Netflix put Blockbuster out of business. But it wasn't apparent in the present. So you got to be forward thinking. I'm sure if you could go back, if you could ask the former CEO of Blockbuster then today, would he like to go back and buy Netflix? I can guarantee you he would answer you yes.
Yes, no doubt. But it's
if
too
you
late.
could ask me, hey, would you like to go back and buy Amazon in 1991, 92, 93, 96, 97, 98? Yes. Would you like to go back and buy Google? Yes. But it's never apparent in the present. So that means you have to educate yourselves and you have to take some chances. You have to take some calculated risk, guys. I can tell you this, no matter how many Jordans you buy, It ain't gonna give you no money. It doesn't appreciate.
I want you to tell them something. You've learned something. I want you to come in here and
just
tell them
wanted to
something.
put that out there.
Come here. Jack is gonna put y'all up on some game. Tell them what ETH is. Tell them what that is. Ethereum. Yeah. And what kind of money is that?
Star Wars.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Star Wars money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know about that Star Wars money, huh?
Mm-hmm. Right. So now you happy now? You got a chance to you see Uncle Nard? Yeah. Okay. You've been hanging around the whole time. All right, you can go. Point is, it's out there for the taking. Now,
yeah, no doubt.
Do we have any questions? We got time to take some questions and maybe point some people in the right direction. Because the next logical step is, well, how do you even get involved?
All right, put your questions in the chat that you have, and we'll answer those right now. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we will get those answered.
You got any comments you want to pull out while they putting that in?
Let me look. I think we got an audience of one to zone in today, right? That we talking about. See, but that would make sense to the early adopters, right? 2.5% of the population. So when you look at billionaires, it's about 2.5%, if not less, maybe 1.5. There's a reason for that, because you have to go when you can't see it. You don't see the fruit.
Yeah, you gotta go. It reminds me of Harriet Tubman. You know, I'm a big Tubman fan. Tubman said she would have freed more slaves, but they didn't know they were slaves.
That's right. They didn't know they were slaves. They didn't know. I mean, the biggest one was her sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her sister didn't know she was a slave.
Yeah, over there, please.
Her sister did not know she was a slave. So
give me a call when you get time so we can talk shop.
Absolutely. So I'm real proud of you too, man. You definitely killing the game in that. So I think guys, study up on it. I realize a lot of you might not have questions because you just don't know what it is. But we'll be here. We'll talk about it again. But just know this is tomorrow. We're talking about tomorrow today.
Yes.
So, and as you know, all of us have been 18. All of us have been 5. And the thing that the older people used to say, and I can remember when I was younger, they would say, just keep living.
Yes.
Tomorrow is coming. Whether you want it to or not, it's coming. So how are you going to be positioned for tomorrow? Because you got to position yourself for tomorrow today. That's just the reality of how it works. All right, we got a quote. Let me see. Two said, will do. Need to chat with you regarding LLCs.
No doubt about it, brother.
We got you covered.
Hit me on my cell. My cell number hadn't changed.
All right. Well, there it is. Again, Charles, great show today. Thank you for breaking down crypto and all that it is and the importance of it and just understanding and really giving people a chance to get in the game if they desire, particularly the early adopters. And I think you said right now we're probably at the very end of the early adopters and moving into the what was that chart you had after we were leaving the innovators and we were in the early adopter phase right now.
Yeah, because and the reason I say that is because crypto, even though it's being used, it's already being used.
Yeah, because the innovators got into Bitcoin when it was a fraction of the cost. They made their money already. They're already billionaires already. Because they got in when Bitcoin was pennies on the dollar. So and it's 19.
Yeah, but even in that, the technology. I mean, Bitcoin went from $3 to $10 to $100 to $1,000 to $3,000 to $20,000. just like that. 5 years, 6 years.
Yep, no doubt.
So, but it's worthwhile to talk about it. But worldwide, I mean, it's only being used like by 1% of the population worldwide. So imagine how much it's going to be worth when it's used by 10%.
True, a lot more.
Yeah.
Two says IBM has a lot of patents with blockchain technology. Yep.
Yeah, they have a super duper cross border payment platform in Stellar.
And I'll say this too for businesses, and we're getting that. I'm talking to us when I say that we got to get tuned up to be able to take Bitcoin, because that's coming too. It's going to be a method of exchange. It just will be.
I mean, and I always say this: not just Bitcoin. There are other coins out there. It's a whole
just cryptocurrency. Period.
Yeah. So once we establish what we want to take, those are the things that we'll take. We won't take everything, but it's a world out there.
Yeah. So there we go.
Oh yeah, right. Because I mean, perfect example: emerging economies. Venezuela has already replaced their currency with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So there it is. It's just more. It's more secure. It's just
not Venezuela, Ecuador. Don't let me lie on Venezuela.
They're probably not far behind. Before I get out of here, Charles, my last thing again. Shout out to all my fraternity brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Happy Founders Day as we celebrate 114 years of doing great things. Be safe, brothers. Try to do it virtually. Be safe, protect yourself, protect your loved ones. Any final thoughts, Charles, before we head out?
Everybody be safe. The numbers on Corona are creeping dangerously high. We at all-time highs, and we still got 2 holidays left in this calendar year. So everybody tread lightly.
Very much so. I think we've hit numbers now that we never saw in the height of the pandemic, and they warned us about this when the colder weather came, and we just got to be careful and diligent.
Yeah.
And I know you're tired, but we can't stop.
No, can't stop. And while you're sitting inside dodging Corona, look for old crypto.
Crypto is waiting on you. Look up, do your research, and we'll see you next time, next Friday, same time, same place, right here, safe and socially distanced from the web. See you then.
Leslie and I have known each other since early childhood. We grew up on the same country road in Mississippi.
I think why we're good for the community of Mississippi is because we're a product of this community. We are just 2 country guys, and we were embedded with what I call the diamonds of good character.
Come, join the family, and help us build the community.